Hello everyone. So we're looking at the space power generator at the moment, and that's the page you can look up, the website. Paramaham Satwari worked closely with Bruce De Palma. They shared research with one another, and Bruce De Palma is supposed to have a lot of research, a lifetimes of research accessible to everyone. That was his goal, his dream, and he lived for that. He lived that everyone could have access to all the knowledge that he had and that he attained from collaborating and working with others, including Paramaham Satwari, which is why this is on, that's my understanding of why this is on De Palma's, on this page. So let's go ahead and move forward here. This is a space power generator, and Paramaham Satwari was if I understand correctly, the main engineer at a power station. So he really knew what he was doing. He was very, very smart. And he always thought beyond. He would say, okay, this is what I'm learning in school, but he would always ask why. Why is that? Why? He would ask why and how and what if this and what if we did that? What if we look at it like this way? And he was very open. And that led him to be developing the space power generator. And his dream was that the technology would be used by all. I would say that if we can make a toy version of that space power generator that generates between 1 watt and 100 watts for educational purposes, for students and citizens throughout the world, to elevate and lift education to the next level of maturity, is very, very important. So, and if someone can make one just homemade out of parts, that are easily available from the hardware store and from just ordering things online, that could be very helpful to, literally one person can make a difference, and every single person does make a difference. Let's see what this says here. So it says the flow of electrons and the load current from the SPG, space power generator, was explained in an article, Genesis of Free Power Generation 4, to be not due to the energy from the electromotive force, EMF, because, as argued in that article, the EMF in an ideal generator with negligible windage and frictional losses can be generated without energy consumption, contrary to the modern concept on the flow of electric current. The explanation given was that the electrons from the neutral atoms of the circuit conductor are attracted by the positively charged atoms at SPG's positive terminal. And this process of attraction of electrons from atom to atom throughout the circuit and continuous flow of current does not deplete the electric field strength of the atoms as they change form positive to neutral state and back to positive, thus attracting and transmitting electrons onwards to their adjacent atoms in one direction constantly. The above process of flow of electric current signifies that force between collinear currents is attractive. Such a conclusion that follows from space vortex theory, abbreviated as SVT, space vortex theory 1, 2, is also supported by the experiment of Stefan Marinov, STEFAN, Marinov, MARINOV, 5. The heat energy, see if I can make the screen the correct brightness here. Oh, to see that I have to have the phone back far. I don't know if you could read that though. The heat energy, 1 squared R, in the circuit conductor was attributed to electrons jostling around the atoms, consequent increased vibration of the atoms and changing potentials, of the atoms in their neighborhood and beyond. It was argued that the atoms do not lose any energy that is seen as light from their structure, discussed further. Therefore, the question as to where from the additional power comes needs further exploration. I know we all are thinking about that, right? Where's the energy coming from? A deeper analysis, 1, 2, of the structure of electron and atoms shows that the basic state of energy constituting electrons and atoms is indestructible entity produced due to dynamics of absolute vacuum, discussed further, that cannot be emitted by the particles or the fields associated with the particles during their oscillations or acceleration. Just as gravity field of Earth can be said to produce energy through a system of bodies under free fall, and without reduction of Earth's gravity field strength, so also the atoms in a conductor during current flow produce heat without loss of energy from their structure. Oh, that's very interesting, right? Very interesting. In any case, the source of the additional power is the circuit conductor and not the SPG, since after the creation of the EMF at the SPG's terminals, the motive force for the electrons was shown to come from the atoms of the circuit conductor, reasons for the violation of the conservation law. In the article Genesis of Free Power Generation 4, it had also been stated that by appropriate disposition of conductors with respect to the magnetic field and close proximity of the circuits that carry on outgoing and return currents within the SPG, the effects of Lenz's law that follows from the energy conservation law can be overcome to a good extent, as shown in Figure 1. And Figure 1 is the drawing up here. See Figure 1. Let's see if I can find my place now. Can I find my place? As shown in Figure 1, where was I? Okay, I think I'm here, as shown in Figure 1. Right here. I think that's where I am. The conductors A and A1 are located side by side, such that the magnetic fields created due to their currents in opposite directions are appreciably cancelled, thus reducing the interaction of these fields with the electromagnet's magnetic field that initially induced the voltages. The reaction of the SPG on DM, the reaction of space power generator on DM. What's DM? I think it's the motor. I think DM is the motor. Let's look. Oh, I don't want to lose my spot. I don't want to lose where I'm reading. Okay, the reaction of the SPG on DM because of the load current of the SPG is reduced since Lenz's law has been partially overcome, and consequently the output exceeds the input by 3,890 watts. It gets evident that the interaction between the magnetic field that induces the voltages in the conductors and the magnetic fields produced by the load current are the only agencies that determine the reaction of a loaded conventional generator on its prime mover, and there is no other mechanism operating within the generator to ensure the equality of output with input as required by the energy conservation law. The new finding of the fact that the output exceeds the input in the above experiment cannot be explained by the contemporary physics, which, while recognizing recognizing matter and its fields as reality, considers space without fields and matter as empty extension. In author's view, a broader concept, discussed below, that reveals the fundamental nature of space, matter, energy, and their interrelationships is required to pinpoint the reasons due to which the results of the above experiments become inexplicable by the current physics. NB for complete discussions. Refer to author's works beyond matter. It says right there. Beyond Matter. I think that book's still available. Structure of electron. The classical physics proposed that electron is a spherical ball of unit charge, and its radius can be expressed as... I'm going to skip the equation. Well, I'll show it. I'll show the equation instead of trying to read it. Okay. In which QE is the electron's charge, ME is electron's mass, EO is the dielectric constant of the absolute vacuum, and C is the speed of light in absolute vacuum. It has been postulated in author's works 1, 2 that the electron is a vortex of vacuum with absolute non-material properties of masslessness, continuity, zero viscosity, and fluidity, figure 2a, with a central spherical void of fixed radius RE, within which the flow of an absolute vacuum, hereafter referred to as space. Okay, so when they say space, they're talking about within which the flow of the absolute vacuum. So it's saying with a central spherical void of fixed radius within which the flow of the absolute vacuum, hereafter referred to as space, is broken down due to its circulation at speed of light. That sounds like it's saying that space is circulating at the speed of light within the radius of an electron. Within the vortex of an electron, there's motion. It's light speed. That makes sense, though. It really does. The expressions for Q, and then I don't know what that, QO, and then ME, derived from the vortex structure of electron are ME equals. Okay, I'm just going to show it. Just show that. Also, in the above works too, it has been shown that, I'll just show that, substituting these values of QE, ME, and that are expressed in terms of RE and C. In the expressions of classical electron radius we have, so a lot of people like the math, and here's your math for you. Okay, so this is explaining all the math for people that like the math. I just want to charge my battery, but I know a lot of people want to know like the math of how all this works, right? So it's definitely good to read all this for yourself because it's all in here. Which shows that the relationship of electrons' charge and electrons' mass derived through alternate theory, space vortex theory, vindicates the classical physics on its proposition of spherical model of electron and the expression for the classical electron radius, though the spherical void at the electron center and non-material properties of space are additional features of SVT, space vortex theory. Okay, so I'll briefly show this, but this is, I recommend just reading the books on yourself. Reading the books yourself. Showing this for educational purposes and to encourage everyone to get the book as well, so you can study these things. I know sometimes the books go out of print, so it's important to request them. So I recommend everyone request this book be made available on audiobook and also brought back into print for those books that are unavailable. The spherical void hole in dynamic space at the center of electron removes the difficulty, too, of infinite energy. In the field of electron, considered presently as point charge. Okay, hear that? In the field of electron, considered presently as point charge, since the energy distribution starts from the spherical space-void interface at radius RE, and not from the void center, the energy within the void being zero or negative, relatively speaking, the spherical void also reverses the direction of the vectors of the fields associated with the electron, figure 2b. The electron, uninteracted with any matter or field, is held stationary due to his own inward radial forces arising out of its dynamically stable structure, 1, 2, 4, of internally spinning space at the highest possible speed, c, at void space interface. It sounds like that space is moving in a vortex motion at the speed of light within every electron. That is so interesting, isn't it? Now, if that's true, maybe that's why when we spin something, it becomes more efficient, right? When we're spinning things, because at the center of every electron, we already have this void vortex speed, like a tornado inside of every electron of emptiness, right? It's just spinning energy. I'm calling it energy, but so when we spin something, it kind of, maybe the electron starts flowing energy into whatever we spin that resembles the electron. Maybe that's also why when we spin something one direction, it has a different effect than spinning it the opposite direction. And the orientation, if we spin it vertically versus horizontally, right? It's different. And if we spin it, so clockwise, counterclockwise, vertical, horizontal, these are all things that affect what we do. Where was I? I lost my place. That's the one bad thing about stopping, is I lose my place in reading. But I can read things more than once, it's fine. Of eternally spinning space at the highest possible speed, c, at void space interface, making it exhibit the behavior of a hard shell, or outside interactions, for outside interactions and spatial reality. Velocity field due to space rotation, extending in the entire universe. The motion of the electron in space due to its void vortex structure exhibits inertia, momentum, and kinetic energy as derived in Beyond Matter. That's another book. 2. The energy of creation is computed, 2, as MeE2, which conforms to Einstein's mass-energy equation. Also, annihilation of electron and positron, 2, is physically possible to be achieved due to reduction of space spin and results collapse of the central void when the particles due to attraction are superposed on each other. Any displacement given to a single electron removed from all matter and fields is opposed by its own inward forces on its spherical interface, as stated above. So let's have a look at this. I think we're looking at the electron right now. Inward field, velocity field, spherical void, spherical interface, rotation of absolute vacuum space at limited speed of light. Notes, absolute vacuum with non-material properties, incompressibility, zero viscosity, continuity and masslessness of an ideal fluid, fieldless, energyless spherical void created due to rotation and breakdown of absolute vacuum. Speed of rotation of space falls off inversely as distance from the center of void, radius of spherical void. And then I cannot read the equation there. I don't know what that says. But if I was to guess, it looks like it's saying F for Cx 10 minus 11 cm. That's just guessing. I don't know if you could read that. But this is from a book, so you can also get the book and see if you can read it in there. Electron structure, it says. And it says spherical void in the middle, right? Spherical void in the middle. That's what it's saying. See? Spherical void. And I think they were saying that was the, velocity, let's see, velocity field. Velocity field is out here. Inward field is over here. Spherical interface. Vortex of fluid space. So vortex of fluid space, right? Rotation of absolute vacuum space at limited speed of light. That is, it looks like it's pointing to this ring, like just the innermost ring that is the surrounding area of that void, right? That's moving at the speed of light. This makes sense why spin is so important, right? To me, I mean, I'm just thinking, sharing with you what I think of when I read this. Electron structure, it says. Figure 2b. Radius from electron. Okay, let's read that. Modern physics considers emission of energy in the form of light, photons, from an electron in oscillation or acceleration. If an electron is set in oscillations, it eventually comes to rest. And how else the stoppage of oscillating movements is possible if energy is not emitted from it as photons? Is the argument generally given? It was also the prediction of classical electromagnetic theory that an electron orbiting around nucleus will eventually fall onto the nucleus. The spherical void at the center of electron in space vortex theory, as stated earlier, has negative energy, and hence it cannot emit any positive energy, photons, from within. Also, no entity can penetrate the interface spinning at speed of light. Therefore, the electron has structural limitation in absorbing any energy within. For the structure of the electron to remain stable, the energy of the spatial spin has to be constant. The production, not emission, of light is an effect, 1,3, produced due to decay of the potential, gravitational, and electromagnetic of the electron under annihilation that initiates at its spherical void and transmits into the whole universe, figure 3b. There can be no exchange of energy between the electron and the light effect produced due to its oscillation or acceleration in the atomic orbit. The stoppage of electrons' oscillations, mentioned earlier, is due to the inward nature of fields on electron spherical interface and not on account of loss of energy by emission of photons as presently believed. So this book, I think, was written a while ago, so I don't know how much theory has caught up to this or possibly gone beyond this. I don't know. But because I don't see I don't see, what is it called, a space, there's space vortex theories, but there's space, what's the generator called? Is it RPG, reactionless generator? Space reactionless generator? I don't remember the name of the generator, but I don't see those out yet for educational purposes, so that's why I'm thinking the theory is probably not caught up to this yet, or it's just gone around it or going the other direction. But it's always good to learn everything we can. I was always taught that. Study everything, read everything. As long as people aren't bullying us, right? If we're being bullied or put down, ignore that and go the other way, right? Go the opposite way of the bully. Okay, let's see. Sphere of vacuum breakdown. Okay, let's see what this says. Sphere of vacuum breakdown in and void creation radius. Radical displacement, radical flow of space. So we're looking at this here. Okay, I'll show this closer so you can see it, the equations. Gravitation. Okay, let's look at gravitation. I know that Paramahamsa Tiwari was also working with a gravity drive system, and he also taught about that as well, how to move something through space. I think what he was saying was you have this, I don't know if you call it a space vortex generator. Oh, so there's a space vortex generator and the space vortex theory, right? I think that's what it's called. But if you have a generator that spins, right, like an N machine, imagine an N machine, right? Bruce De Palma's N machine, but Paramahamsa Tiwari had his own designs. But I think one of them was you have an N machine spinning, right? So magnets spinning really fast, and then we have coils around that are sending a charge to that spinning magnetic field, and then we can see if that changes the weight of that. So if the magnet's spinning in space like this, think of if we think of a who am I thinking of right now? John Searle. The John Searle generator was kind of like horizontal, right? It spun around. It had lots of little magnets spinning, and I don't know if the whole thing spun as well, but I think all these little magnets would spin, and it was creating these rotating magnetic fields, right? This thing went right through the roof one time when he first made it. The first crude version that he made at home, just with parts laying around. He said that thing went right through the roof, and that's what I think we can all make. We can make that first crude version, even though he doesn't show it. But he didn't. I don't think he did any special machining with the first one. He just had magnets spinning, right? And then spin that whole thing, and then I think it went right through the roof when he overloaded it. The load is what made it repel gravity. It's when it was overloaded. When you put a big load on it. I think you put a toaster oven on it and a few things, maybe a hairdryer. I don't know if it was a hairdryer, but like a toaster and some other things that take a lot of power, right? I think a toaster oven takes like 1,500 watts. That's a lot of power. And that thing went right through the roof. It actually blasted right through the roof with great force. So that could definitely help for experimentation with gravity, right? Generating gravity fields. What was I saying? Oh, Paramahamsa Tiwari was, if I understood him correctly, was showing that if we rotate magnets, so if we rotate magnets like a Bruce De Palma magnet, like an N machine, right? And then we pulse fields, constant and pulsed, try both, right? High frequency and high current, try both, I guess, just trying both as an experiment. And I'm not telling you to do this, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I'm just saying it looked like this is what Paramahamsa Tiwari was theorizing. Paramahamsa Tiwari was theorizing with the gravity drive system is that we can move things through space, possibly. We can make something change weight. And once we have a weight change, we can keep going with that and see how we can improve the efficiency and also the strength of those fields to allow us to have enough gravity repulsion where it could actually make something lift up, right? So we can actually have like an electric bike or a scooter lift up or be much lighter. Maybe instead of weighing 150 pounds, or like this one weighs 100 pounds, I think. What if it could weigh like 80 pounds or 50 pounds? It can make it weigh less to load it into the car, right? That could be an invention, right? Something you wrap around your whatever you want to lift, and then you turn it on, and it can make something lift up. That's a very good idea. You know that can be done, right? I know it could be done, no doubt in my mind. And it could be done without end. Just like automakers, there's many automakers, there could be many of these inventions. That's why it's important to share the theory. If you're developing these theories, share those developments publicly, so that can help assure that your product comes out, and also for healthy competition, right? Because if you come out with that product, other people are going to come out with their own version of that anyway. So what's the difference between letting people come out with it after you come out with yours versus while you come out with yours, or even before you, right? Yours is still going to be different. You can still make it differently. It'll still come out. And the important thing is that we got the technology. But, a lot of people say, everyone just thinks of the money and how much money they can get for things. And they don't think about, not everyone, but this happens a lot, where if the only thought is how much profit can be made from something, I don't know if that's what we need right now. It seems like what we need is more understanding, right? And I mean, that's what's inspiring me is all the people that share their thoughts and theories about how things work, and then I'm sharing what I think about what I'm learning. So everyone doing that, I think it's going to bring us up, elevate the maturity of science. Okay, let's see where we were here. It's a thought experiment. It's a possibility. So we have light shell transmitting out radially at speed c, which is the speed of light, if I understand correctly. Fields within the shell collapse to zero. Wavelength, void, vacuum interface, radius of spherical void. This one's hard to read here. I don't know what that says. D. Spherical shell, light shell, to collapse, avoid the initial stage of its creation. Yeah, I'm having trouble reading what this says right there. Oops, what happened? I leaned on the computer by accident. It looks like it's saying de-energization, spherical shell, light shell, formed due to collapse of void shown at the initial stage of its creation. I figured it out. De-energization. I think that's what it's saying. De-energization, spherical shell, light shell, formed due to collapse of void shown at the initial stage of its creation. Very interesting. Okay, let's go down. That was figure 3. So let's read this now. We'll read in space vortex theory, the existence of only one fundamental particle, that is, electron, follows from the postulates that the universe is constructed of only one non-material entity, space. With the limiting speed of its flow, c, the positron is shown to be an oppositely spinning electron, and thus, oh wow, look at that. It said, oh, that's very interesting. Wow, let's look at that again. In space vortex theory, the existence of only one fundamental particle, that is the electron, follows from the postulates that the universe is constructed of only one non-material entity, space. That's powerful. I mean, we're 33 minutes into this video, and I just was like, wow. I can't believe this. I'm amazed. This is amazing. I have read of this so much, and it's making sense to me right now at this moment. The only fundamental particle is the electron. I think that's what it's saying. In space vortex theory, the existence of only one fundamental particle, the electron, follows from the postulates that the universe is constructed of only one non-material entity, space. With the limiting speed of its flow. So the limiting speed of the flow of space is speed of light. I think is what it's saying, because it's saying c. Right? It's saying c right there. The positron is shown 1, 2 to be an oppositely spinning electron. Wow! So, yeah, I've read that before. I completely forgot about that. How did I forget that? So the positron is just an electron spinning in the opposite direction. That really makes sense to me. And this is coming from Paramahamsa Tiwari. The positron is shown to be an oppositely spinning electron, and thus the idea of positive and negative charge is a relative concept, relative to direction spin. The electrons through the interactions of velocity fields, repel each other electrically and attract magnetically when in motion. Oh, wow. The electrons, through the interactions of velocity fields, repel each other electrically and attract magnetically when in motion. Also, an electron attracts positron electrically and repels magnetically when in motion. Wow. With such forces of interaction between these particles, an electron and a positron in dynamic state will magnetically repel without annihilating each other, and as shown in figure 4, can assemble into a neutron, which, as per space vortex theory, is the core of hydrogen atom. Wow. When the neutron assembles out of 1836 numbers of electrons, 918 of them are positrons, is enclosed within a space vortex, its stability increases as Ft develops electric charge due to space spin around it and becomes a proton. When a proton attracts an electron through the interaction of the velocity fields in their vortices, hydrogen atom is built. Figure 4. The spacing between the centers of the orbiting electron and the proton is determined by the common velocity field at the spinning surface of proton. The velocity fields of electron being relatively oppositely oriented with the proton's velocity fields, the hydrogen atom behaves neutral to the outside interactions. Wow. My apologies. I'm just so excited. This is so exciting. And this makes me think of what Thomas Bearden was talking about when Tom Bearden said, engineering reality, right? Tom Bearden said, engineering reality. Engineering reality. That's what I see right now when I read this. See, if the screen's too bright, right, you can't see anything. Which, to me, it's like if something's outside of what we know and what we're familiar with, we go, there's nothing there. But then as we learn more, it's slowly, right, very slowly, we become able to see it. Very slowly. See that? Very slowly. See how it slowly comes into existence, right? We can't see it. It's not familiar to me. And then we study and we study and we study, and what's right before us changes, right? Suddenly it's there, and we could see. Oh, we could see it now. We can see more and more and more, right? And then we zoom in and we can see it even better because we're studying, all right? So when bullies come out, the bully's going to say, there's nothing there, don't even look. There's nothing there. And then people that say, I'm interested in impossibility. I'm interested in taking impossibility and transitioning it into possibility, or probability and possibility, because we live in an infinite possibility, infinite inevitability universe, right? And people want to be responsible with humanity and infinite possibility together. And they say, I'm going to make good things with my mind. I'm going to use my mind for good, for the betterment of humanity, right? Worldwide solution-oriented collaboration, right? And then suddenly we can see, right? Suddenly we can see again. And then we keep going, working together, building. And not trying to convince people that are bullying us, right? Because that's the distraction. We have too much work to do. just do our own work, educating people that want to learn, and making videos, sharing, connecting with those people. And people that want to bully people, if they want to start learning this, it's there, it's available. But we can never prove something to someone, right? People have to prove it for themselves. That's the way I was taught. To spend 0 time on bullies, 0 time. 100% of our mind has to go to helping people that want to learn and focusing on those minds, right? Which to me, I'm focusing on my own process and I'm documenting my process of learning, right? I'm documenting my process of learning. And then when I share my process of learning, right? When something goes from the darkness into the light, when I do that, it's being witnessed by you, right? It's being witnessed by you, and you can start to see slowly. You can start to see what's there, what was always there. There's people that make videos just trying to convince and teach the bullies, and the bullies will never be happy. And I don't really know what they want, you know, because you could hand it to them and they still don't see it. They still don't want it. I've seen people make free energy machines, and it's right in front of them working, and they go, this doesn't work, it's a scam. And it's right in front of them working, literally working. So if they are saying that, and I see it in front of them working, right, then nothing's going to change that viewpoint, because they don't want to see it, which makes sense. I mean, I'm just saying it that way because that's what it seems like to me. If a person really wants to learn something, I think we have that ability to learn it. It's a slow process, though, right? It's a slow process, but it can be done. So, and never giving up. That's the thing, right? Our presidents said that, right? Which president said that? And probably more than one. Never, never, never give up. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, I'm going to stop this video and then make a new one just of what we just read. I'm going to make a new video just of that part I just read because it was so significant. And I'll see you soon in the next video, everybody. Okay, everyone. See you soon. Bye.